Коллеги, всем добрый день. Меня зовут Луцев Данила, и последние лет, наверное, 10-12 я занимаюсь процессами.
Hello. For the last few years, I am dealing with security, data security, security operations centers in Russia and abroad, and today I would like to talk about the following. We have been talking about competence, about the things that I was thinking about. If I decide to build a security operating center now, or if I would like to improve it, what kind of frameworks, standards would I use? And of course, the top level guidance is different standards, best practices in Russia and abroad describe this area very well. But from the viewpoint of technology, technical stack, everything changes very quickly, and you cannot turn it quickly into executable expertise. If you want to evaluate your SOC from the viewpoint of methodology and processes, if you have a large process of the company, an excellent framework is at Rob1Oz. You download the file about everything related to Security Operations Center from beginning to end. As a result, you fill in the questionnaires, get the charts, and understand your maturity level. But assessment doesn't answer the question how. It shows you the good things, the gaps, but it cannot tell you what to do next and how. I tried to find what we can do and how I can help. This is the attack framework, which helps you not only disclose the gaps, but also on the basis of previous projects, get information about what you are going to do, regardless of your maturity level now. And this is the insight from Matthew Saunier, the French analyst. He says that right now executable expertise is sufficient to close the detection circle from getting data to building correlations, building incident response playbooks, training and education, and building the pipeline for us to get controllable process of incident response. What would I like to say? If you have a fully built format now, let's try to do the same kind of assessment now and map it on to the projects that we would like to improve. For the top level format, let's take the SANS methodology, the 5 levels of maturity from initial to repeatable, defined, managed, and optimizing when you have all the metrics and feedback when we continuously improve the processes. First, level 1, initial. You have no ideas. Then you try to aggregate ideas from public sources, forums. Then we formalize it into the standard approaches. Then we use a framework to manage what we have found, so that our team could work with it and turn ideas into actions. And finally, level 5, community, data sharing, and so on.
Просто
Everything seems to be quite clear. Threat hunting, bloodhound, it's in Slack.
Ну и Twitter.
Threat hunting and bloodhound. Twitter, don't forget it, although it's prohibited in Russia. Flow incident response people and the people who develop the utilities that are used in red team and hacking. MITRE and Cobalt Strike. Also,
Блоги,
blogs and sites with Fear Report, for instance, very well attributed reports, attack reports that you can take and use in your infrastructure to detect threats. And Telegram, don't forget.
в основном там.
So our community lives in Telegram mainly. Collection of events. We start from simple things, simple sources, then we realize that firewall logs are can detect nothing else. We improved best practices. Best practices are integrated with MITRE ATT&CK, with the attacks that we would like to detect. And we see that this rule is better, this rule is useless. So you would like to collect everything, use command line interface, and we want to verify all that. We build statistics, we build analytics. In our infrastructure, we have 10,000 hosts, but 4688 comes from 2,000 hosts only. Why? And proactive level is when we use machine learning, big data. We aggregate not only CM stories with relational databases, but also use the functionality that enables us to work with huge data volumes by integrating statistics and machine learning on the fly. Kafka, Spark. As for sources that help us, they are, first of all, Windows infrastructure. For Windows infrastructure, Palantir, Windows Event Forwarding, it was reincarnated in Broad's projects. Excellent project, still developing, and it integrates
буквально в несколько скриптов групповых.
Your group policies and subscriptions to all events. Don't forget Ultimate Windows Security, a huge knowledge base which helps you understand what is happening. Build up your expertise, install Sysmon Modular for Windows, for Linux, and to configure it, you use Sysmon Modular that installs the tags into the events. And also in MITRE, we also have attacks data sources, the data that you need to collect. We have good products for Windows and good products for Linux as well. Then detection. On the basis of collected logs, we need detection rules. We begin with default rules that are included in CM, then develop it in community, use Sigma projects, use vendor-based products, for example, Elastic Security, and try to understand how do those rules work. We need feedback. We need scripts and templates to identify that this pipeline detection from start to finish works along the entire way. We use the attack emulation scripts and detection as a code paradigm that Sigma uses helps us to build the chain from development to testing and deployment. CI/CD for detection. Detection as a code plus CI/CD. We are part of the community, open security initiatives. We share knowledge with other members of cyber system ecosystem. The sources: MITRE ATT&CK, Cyber Analytics Repository, everything related to Sigma, and additional utilities that help us at our datasets to see how well our rules work. Vendor expertise, Max Petrol and other vendors, and sources of data, living off the land binaries that you can take right now and use in your infrastructure to understand what really is happening from the viewpoint of attackers. And then enrichment. We start with stationary lookups and then add new services, virus total, domain tool, something external to understand external context, something internal to aggregate data about our internal systems, SMDB, VM, risk systems. We find the most relevant sources of enrichment and realize if we had a SOAR product, I could identify false positives at the very beginning. So, as a result, I see the beginning of incident response playbooks. Sources: virus total, excellent, we all like it right now. It's a full-scale TI platform with installed attribution and Sigma rules, helping us to work with MITRE ATT&CK stories. Cloud platforms, Joy Sandbox, hybrid analysis with the binaries that were emulated, threat intelligence, threats crowd for the context. Search systems like Shodan tell us what kind of IP addresses interact with us. And the hive, unfortunately, it cannot be branched, but from the viewpoint of enrichment and atomic actions, it's excellent for your stories. And since we talked about hive, let's talk about incident processing. To begin with, we have a simple ticket system that you have. We understand its limitations and start using other scenarios, describe the conditions where we need additional actions, start building additional scripts, analytical, responsive, some more actions, and see that we need an additional story, SOAR platform, for instance. Then we add on the metrics for incident response to understand how efficient we are, average mean time to detect, mean time to response, quality of logs, quality of correlation rules with emulation scripts. All that can be installed into one clear framework. And then what do we need? What else do we need? We fix the results that we have now. We fix the roadmap that the analyst went through, so that the next analyst, when analyzing the same kind of incident, wouldn't generate something new, invent a wheel, reinvent a bicycle. We have a lot of attributed sources for scenarios. Some of them started before the framework, like CERT Société Générale. But point three is most interesting. It's Phantom Community Playbooks, which helps you look at incident response from the viewpoint of Sigma code, which is transformed into response code, configuration files to interact with different objects. It's an interesting story. Let's wait and see how it's going to develop, whether it will be just a DevOps, whether it will be some set of tools. Points 4 and 5 are the projects that are most interesting for MITRE attacks. Especially interesting is point 4. Apart from a clear division between tactics, there are a lot of mental cards which help analysts to look at the objects and build the red hunting process. Let's move on. IOC processing start with manual search, then we build cloud or on-prem services and begin forming our own expertise, our own threat intelligence on the basis of the incidents that we processed. We build a manageable process to range subscription by the level of their efficiency. Positives and false positives. And then we build a cloud of data that are interrelated by certain things like whois or fingerprints or certificates to get, as a result, not just the atomic IOCs, but also to take techniques and tactics that would like to help us find something which is closed, which is not seen on the surface. Sources, as you can imagine, are MISP, threat intelligence platform. Many people say threat intelligence is for large corporations, for integration, but in order to get an understanding of how it works, you need MISP or Alien Vault, just to see what is your maturity level. Both have MITRE attributes, and you can understand what kind of techniques and tactics are used in that binary. Then threat hunting hypothesis. We start with initial search, then we build automatic scripts, search requests, and run them in our on our data and on real previously found attacks to see how well our hypothesis works. We fix our data in Jupyter notebooks. It's a link between scripts and they help us to share our hypothesis with colleagues and with community. If we understand that this hypothesis works, but we cannot convert it into the rules, we can just install it for it to work, to run, and to generate events for you. So we can use specific signature analysis and mathematical education and so on. So we have excellent sources here. The Rodriguez brothers who promote this system in order to merge
работу с данными и информацией
data and security.
познакомиться, можно, во-первых, поставить
To get acquainted with it, you can install their HELC platform and look at their events, which run for the third year in a row. Microsoft is also involved with their Mystic Pi, and they have a community of threat hunting hypotheses data.
И, наконец, система
And finally, the education and training system. We accumulate knowledge to minimize the threshold.
безопасности. Для того, чтобы
And
благодаря атрибуции
due to attribution in the incident map, we can have information about references, about what to do with these incidents, what we have to look, what you don't need, and you can get it in the sources, cyber
на которых
infrastructures, that you can see how malicious codes behave, malicious techniques, how they behave.
Atomic Threat Coverage это прекрасно.
Atomic threat coverage is an excellent example of how knowledge base should be organized. Detection labs look at this process by all means, and you can get the fully scaled
На чем обкатываются все
infrastructure and samples and data sources for Windows
общие
and
сетевые
general network focus. And you can see whether your rules would work or not. And then
кодификации безопасности
GitHubification of InfoSec
много
as a concept,
последние годы.
which is talked about. It helps us to exchange data, to exchange expertise in our community and raise our security level. And regardless of which story you use, which process you would like to improve, security vision will help you, because all scenarios are customizable and any source, any challenge can be dealt with. We're waiting for you at our stand. Thank you.